You got a minute? Hello, Feral friends. Welcome back to Feral. I'm your host, Savannah Montana, and today we are talking about anxiety. I have a very special guest in the house. He's a longtime friend, a badass, successful attorney, and a first-time guest on Feral. I think you're a first-time guest on a podcast ever, yeah?
Yeah, I was on Will's, but I like your podcast
right.
20 times more already.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We love that. Welcome to the den, Gio Borges. How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
I'm excited for this and for this topic. And obviously we talked a little bit about the subject before, but this is the first time that I've really kind of gone public with this. And again, I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I know that, you've had similar issues with what we're going to discuss. So I think it's going to be a really fruitful and a very engaging conversation for a lot of people that are maybe scared to kind of talk about the same things that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. I think it's going to be difficult for both of us at times because we have dealt with severe anxiety disorder for so long. It's probably longer than we even realized. You go through things a lot before you're even diagnosed or you realize or become aware that you have an issue or a problem that you're dealing with. So I'm excited, but I'm ultimately excited that you're talking about it with me because most men aren't comfortable having these conversations. So the fact that you brought it up and it's something that's personal to you and you have extensive experience in, unfortunately, is a really, really big deal. And I think it's going to be an eye-opener, not just for the women listening and are in relationships with men or have men in their families or friends that deal with this and suffer from it, but from the standpoint of men. I mean, guys don't want to talk about this shit. I just ran into one of my buddies at the gym yesterday morning. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually having Gio on the show tomorrow. We're going to talk about anxiety. He was like, shut the fuck up. You're talking about anxiety? And I was like, yeah. It almost sounds exactly like your story, which he's going to tell you on the show today, you guys. So there's guys that are ready to hear this. They're ready to talk about it. They're ready to listen to it. And you're going to set the tone for them. So thank you for being here. And thank you for being ballsy enough and having the vulnerability to open your mouth about it.
It took me 15 years to finally, grow a pair, I guess, and then actually talk about this because it's not something easy to talk about. But thankfully, where I've been in the past, and we'll get into all that, and where I'm at today, by no stretch of the imagination am I fully cured of this thing. It still happens to me all the time. I'm not going to say every day, but weekly for sure. And there's moments where sometimes I have no panic attacks, and, no severe anxiety. And then another day I can just be sitting at home with nothing to do, and all of a sudden it strikes and it hits. So by no stretch of the imagination am I a guy where I'm saying I survived this thing, I'm never going to have a panic attack again. I know everything how to solve it. Not the case, but I've made significant progress in learning about what panic attacks are, severe anxiety, panic disorder, the symptoms, the science behind it with our body, how it works from a psychological perspective. So I'm finally at a point where I'm happy to talk about it in the sense of it helps me kind of be a little more liberated from these things when I can talk about it in public, talk about it on a podcast, and not worry about judgment. I could give two shits what anyone thinks of me after we have this conversation, because if they do, I don't care. I really don't care. And if you asked me that a long time ago, I'd be petrified if anyone knew that I suffered from severe anxiety and panic attacks, and I'm this big shot lawyer, who works with all these investors, and everyone looks at me to be like, the tough guy in court and all that. But if they knew that I suffered from severe anxiety and panic attacks, I don't know, years ago, my fear was, am I going to lose business? Are they not going to want to be friends with me? Are people not going to want to, associate with me? How are they going to judge me? Is this going to affect my business? Is it going to affect my friendship? So there's a lot of different things years ago that I wasn't comfortable with in terms of sharing this, because in fear of what others would think of me or how they would judge me. But I'm at the point in my life now where I just don't care at all. Whether I'm doing well with my career or not. Thankfully, I'm doing very well. I have my own law firm now, and I'm doing great. I don't care. I can be working at McDonald's, making $10 an hour, or be making $1 million as a big shot attorney. My view is not changing. Where I'm at in life, and one of my newfound goals is to talk about this openly and publicly for the benefit of myself, but also to help spread awareness to other people that suffer with it, especially men. Because like you just said, men, we're taught to hold the shield up, be the strong person for the family, never show weakness, men don't cry. God forbid a man says, yeah, I have severe anxiety, I suffer from panic attacks. A lot of men are scared to say that. So one of my goals here in speaking with you today and hearing your side of the story as well is that, someone that's watching this that maybe goes through the same things can say, oh my God, I'm not the only one that goes through this. It's so nice that other people can explain this and are not scared to actually talk about their bad experiences. And maybe there's something that you and I talk about today and some symptoms and strategies to help with it that ends up helping someone and makes a significant change in their life and improves their life in dealing with panic attacks and severe anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's such a good point, and it's such shit. Like, women talk about this shit all the time. We're open books, but we're shunned and we're judged for being dramatic. Oh,
No matter
like you're
what.
just this or you're just that or whatever. And guys have to constantly bottle it up and they just have to be macho all the time. But it's so unfair because anybody who's experiencing it, whether you're female or male, it sucks across the board. Like, it's fucking brutal. But guys, especially, you guys don't talk about it because society has trained you almost to not talk about these things and act like you don't feel things. And you're not less of a man for not, for having those conversations. You're a human being at the end of the day. You are going to feel what you're going to feel, but not talking about it isn't helping any of you guys.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it, and not to throw the ladies under the bus, but yeah, we talk about this shit all the time. So guys, you
It's a
guys can talk
stigma.
about it too.
It's a stigma,
It really
like
is.
if someone says that, they say, oh, she's just a woman, she's being emotional.
Yeah.
She's on her period. There's a million different excuses.
And we are.
for it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a nut job when I PMS. I'm demonic. I'm not okay. I'm unwell. But that's like the 5 days out of the month.
Right.
Like an anxiety attack, next level. Like those aren't even doing the same thing. But yeah, women are judged all the time for being over dramatic, overreacting, yada yada yada. Guys, on the other end, you guys aren't allowed to. So
No,
you
we can't.
underreact.
Can't.
And then you get shit on for that. I know that I've said something about that, not just to Will, but any relationship that I'm in. I'm sure that I have judged my significant other for underreacting.
Yeah.
So there's the other side of it too.
That's what the dating rules say. You know what the dating rules are, right? If
No, but tell me.
When you're talking to someone, right, you cannot text them back quickly. You better not text them back after
Oh,
30
yeah.
seconds. When you open the text, you better not respond right away. You better put your phone down and wait 20 minutes or wait 30 minutes or wait for it. Maybe wait a couple hours and then respond to the girl, at least from a guy's perspective, because you don't want to see him like that desperate dude. Even though you read the text and things are going great, yeah, I would love to respond, but not, because then it makes it look like I'm desperate, everything else. And then the whole thing after the first date, how soon do you text the girl? Do you make plans? What do? You got to play it off cool, right? So you have these unwritten dating rules that people in our society kind of follow. And it's the same thing with anxiety. As a dude, you do not want to open up to your significant other or someone you're talking to and say, hey, look, I just want to be clear and just kind of let you know I suffer with severe anxiety or panic attacks. And I think in men's minds, it's that if I share something like that to someone I'm talking to or I'm in a relationship with, they're going to look at me with a negative inference. They're going to look at me as a weaker man or less of a man because I suffer from these emotional issues. And so I think that's really a big fear in most men is, how am I going to look to my wife or my girlfriend or someone I'm talking to? And it's going to make me look of a lesser man, especially if you're a parent too. As a parent, you have to be your rock, for your children. And I'm not saying to tell your children this, but, you have to be strong for them no matter what. Imagine being a father of the family and you're responsible for, making the majority of the money or, being strong for the kids and being strong for your wife. And then having that conversation, with your wife saying, I can't drive the kids to school today because I'm having a panic attack. I need you to take over and not flip it out. Understand that it's outside of my control. I literally can't drive the kids there because I literally can't breathe.
You shouldn't even be in a car.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
And
shouldn't.
That's a really hard conversation to have. Or maybe you're somewhere in public, you're at a restaurant, you're in the grocery store, and you just have to look at the person next to you saying, I have to get out of here. I have to go in the car. I got to go for a walk. I got to just get out because I'm having a panic attack. And it's really hard to do that. And when you're not able to do that, in fear of how someone's going to judge you or how they're going to react to you or what they're going to say to you, it makes everything worse because everything is bottled up and just gets worse and worse and worse. And with anxiety, it's like gasoline in a fire and the rolling snowball. The worse and the more you let these things go untreated, and the more you bottle them up, and you make up excuses and you prolong it and you avoid it, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yep, it really, really does. I want to play a game with you to get started so that we can give some people the facts. So we're going to play true or false.
Oh, this is fun. You didn't tell me about this in the pre-show.
I
This is
didn't
good.
tell him. This is a surprise. I'm
See,
surprising
you're
to
20
you.
times better than Will already.
Yeah. I really just I throw it at my guests, huh? He told me not to go easy on you. He was like, give it to him
Throw him in
raw,
the
give it
fire.
beef feral.
That
I'm
sounds
like,
exactly what Will said.
yeah, he would. He's like, just make it hard on him. Like it's gonna be fantastic no matter what. All right, so you know how to play true or false. I'm gonna give you the statement. You're gonna tell me if it's true or false.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you whether you're right or wrong. All right, true or false? Panic attacks can cause heart attack-like symptoms.
True.
True. Many ER visits come in with the complaint or the concern of heart issues.
That happened to me. I
Yep.
went to the ER with the exact same symptoms.
We're going to talk about that actually. More women than men suffer from anxiety disorder. True or false?
I'm going to say false.
True.
Oh,
But it should be false because the only reason that is the statistic is because men are less likely to report it or seek help.
that was my thinking.
So you kind of are right. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States.
I don't know, but I'll say true.
True. 40 million adults, 19% of our population are affected by it yearly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a fat percentage. Curing anxiety requires medication.
False.
False. Lifestyle changes, mindfulness can be more effective than medication, which we're really going to deep dive into. I'm
time.
going to give you guys all the sauce. Panic attacks can last for hours. True or false? This one shocked me, actually.
I think it's subjective, but I would say true.
False.
Oh.
Most last 5 to 20 minutes. It's the side effects that feel endless.
Okay.
That I was like, no, I've definitely had.
Because
but
really, it's just
yeah. Mm-hmm.
the buildup of cortisol and adrenaline, and that can only last so long. Your body can only maintain that level of adrenaline for so long before it eventually comes down.
Did you know when you have high adrenaline or high cortisol, this could be for anything, not just a panic attack, but it takes your body on average 7 hours to regulate your cortisol and your adrenaline after
I had no
it
idea
peaks.
it took 7 hours.
7 hours minimum.
Wow.
So your body's like, don't get upset and freak out at shit because I have a temper. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore because no wonder my day is shot after that. I can't regulate my hormones for a minimum of 7 hours after I have a panic attack or I freak out or overreact to
And
something.
it'll take 30 seconds for it to happen. But 7 hours to unwind.
Isn't that wild?
Makes sense.
It really does. Avoiding anxiety triggers. Oh, wait. Yeah. Is that right? Avoiding anxiety triggers makes it worse.
Oh, absolutely. I'd say that twice on Sunday. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
I'm the king of that.
It's true. It reinforces your fear and it actually limits your life. You're going to die sooner. So don't. Don't avoid it. And exercise and caffeine have no impact on anxiety. True or false?
False.
False. Caffeine can trigger it. Exercise can combat it.
Correct.
Cool. You did excellent.
That's
He
great.
basically
Good
got them
info.
all. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Get a little statistics in there
I like
for
that. It's not
our
just
listeners.
us talking about life, and our experiences. I like that you have like the hard science,
Yeah.
not science, but actual legitimate facts.
Yeah,
about that.
this is
It's
based
awesome.
off of our country and our people. So this is true. Yeah.
Awesome.
And not to throw the ladies under the bus, but yeah, we talk about this shit all the time. So guys,
It's
you
a
guys can talk
stigma.
about it too.
It's a stigma,
It really
like
is.
if someone says that, they say, "Oh, she's just a woman. She's being emotional.
Yeah.
she's on her period." There's a million different excuses.
And we are.
for it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a nut job when I PMS. I'm demonic. I'm not okay. I'm unwell. But that's like the 5 days out of the month.
Right.
Like an anxiety attack, next level. Like those aren't even doing the same thing. But yeah, women are judged all the time for being over dramatic, overreacting, yada yada yada. Guys, on the other end, you guys aren't allowed to. So
No,
you
we can't.
underreact.
Can't.
And then you get shit on for that. I know that I've said something about that, not just to Will, but any relationship that I'm in. I'm sure that I have judged my significant other for underreacting.
Yeah.
So there's the other side of it too.
That's what the dating rules say. You know what the dating rules are, right? If
No, but tell me.
When you're talking to someone, right, you cannot text them back quickly. You better not text them back after
Oh,
30
yeah.
seconds. When you open the text, you better not respond right away. You better put your phone down and wait 20 minutes or wait 30 minutes or wait for it. Maybe wait a couple hours and then respond to the girl, at least from a guy's perspective. Because you don't want to see him like that desperate dude. Even though you read the text and things are going great, yeah, I would love to respond, but no, because then it makes it look like I'm desperate, everything else. And then the whole thing after the first date, how soon do you text the girl? Do you make plans? What do? You got to play it off cool, right? So you have these unwritten dating rules that people in our society kind of follow. And it's the same thing with anxiety. As a dude, you do not want to open up to your significant other or someone you're talking to and say, hey, look, I just want to be clear and just kind of let you know I suffer with, severe anxiety or panic attacks. And I think in men's minds, it's that if I share something like that to someone I'm talking to or I'm in a relationship with, they're going to look at me with a negative inference. They're going to look at me as a weaker man or less of a man because I suffer from these emotional issues. And so I think that's really a big fear in most men is how am I going to look to my wife or my girlfriend or someone I'm talking to, and it's going to make me look of a lesser man, especially if you're a parent too. As a parent, you have to be your rock, for your children. And I'm not saying to tell your children this, but you have to be strong for them no matter what. Imagine being a father of the family and you're responsible for making the majority of the money or being strong for the kids and being strong for your wife. And then having that conversation, with your wife saying, I can't drive the kids to school today because I'm having a panic attack. I need you to take over and not flip it out. Understand that it's outside of my control. I literally can't drive the kids there because I literally can't breathe.
You shouldn't even be in a car.
Exactly.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
That's a really hard conversation to have. Or maybe you're somewhere in public, you're at a restaurant, you're in the grocery store, and you just have to look at the person next to you saying, I have to get out of here. I have to go in the car. I got to go for a walk. I got to just get out because I'm having a panic attack. And it's really hard to do that. And when you're not able to do that, in fear of how someone's going to judge you or how they're going to react to you or what they're going to say to you, it makes everything worse because everything is bottled up and just gets worse and worse and worse. And with anxiety, it's like gasoline in a fire and the rolling snowball. The worse and the more you let these things go untreated, and the more you bottle them up, and you make up excuses and you prolong it and you avoid it, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yep, it really, really does. Your anxiety started in college. You had your first panic attack at 19.
Yes.
At a party.
Kind of.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So I was in college. Up until that point, I was 18 years old. I, like any human being, had dealt with stress or inconveniences, but I never had a genuine panic attack, with all the symptoms and everything else there. So to make a very, very long story short, it was 420. We're in college. We're being stupid. I really didn't even smoke weed growing up. I was a very straight edge kind of guy. In college, you do stupid stuff. You're young. It's freshman year. It's 420. Wiz Khalifa and Mac Miller were performing at the UCF Arena. So we were like, oh, let's smoke before the concert.
Yeah.
And so we went out to a nature trail. It was me and 3 other guys. And it was probably 85 or 90 degrees, so super hot, maybe 2 p.m. in the middle of the day. And we didn't have a car, so we walked from our dorm probably 15 minutes to get to the nature trail, because at the time, you could still get arrested for smoking weed and stuff. It was a big deal.
Oh, yeah,
Whereas
for
now
sure.
No one really cares.
Everybody smokes now.
And so since it was 420, we had basically took a big cigar wrap, so not like a normal size J, but a big cigar wrap, put a ton of weed in there. Some of the other guys put in some keef, from their grinder. They had made their own hash. They put some hash in there. And then they also dipped the cigar wrap in codeine, which is like cough syrup, which is not good. So you guys can see where I'm going. This is a recipe for disaster. So none of this sounds like a good idea. But
it was a great idea when you were
18 years old and it's 420, you're literally as stupid as you could possibly be.
Oh, yeah.
So mind you, this is something that probably should have been smoked by 20 people, not 4 guys.
Oh, my God.
So we go
and
out
you finished the whole thing.
Don't remember, but
well, you'll know why he doesn't remember here in a minute.
So we go out to the nature trail, and me and the 4 guys, we light it up. We're taking turns, kind of passing it around. And at that point, I had smoked weed a decent amount of time, so I'm like, okay, I know what it feels like. As I started smoking this, and I was really ripping it, aggressively, the feeling of the high kept increasing to the point where I'd never experienced something like that before in my life. And so it kept getting higher and higher. And I remember I looked at one of my buddies. I'm like, man, I feel great. This is awesome. I've never felt this good. I've never felt a high like this. This is awesome. Where it got bad is that feeling didn't stop. The high kept going and going and going, where I started getting a little nervous. I'm like, oh, shit, this isn't fun anymore. I'm starting to get a little nervous. something's not right.
And how long did that take, if you can remember?
Maybe 20 minutes. It was like a slow burn.
Yeah, but fast also.
Yeah.
You realized in 20 minutes.
When I realized it was getting bad, very quickly.
Yeah.
So as we're walking back, I told the guys, hey, I'm good. I'm maxed out. I remember just walking, and the guys were in front of me, and we're walking kind of in sand and grout. And my vision started to turn pink, kind of like this microphone top. I'm like, well, this isn't good. My colors started to turn pink. it felt like, the hallways are closing where my vision's getting a little blurry. I'm getting super lightheaded. And then at that point, I realized, okay, the ship's going down. I'm not going to make it. Like something bad's about to happen. And I had never passed out before in my life. So I didn't know what this experience felt like. So I'm experiencing it in real time for the first time. So as I'm walking and I just feel like I lose complete control of my body, I take my arm and I try to put it on my buddy's shoulder for like support so that I wouldn't fall. As I put my arm on his shoulder, he thought I was joking around because I was a big joker back in the day. He moves his arm like, yo, get off me, man. What are you doing? So my arm falls. And then I end up falling face first down into the dirt and I passed out. While I passed out, I remember hearing them, like my buddies like, oh shit, like they thought I was joking, but then realized, oh, something's really wrong. And I remember hearing them kind of like talking in the background. And one of my buddies, who was a big dude, kind of lifts me up to where his arms are like this pole here. And I'm kind of like laid over where I'm kind of like this, and he's just kind of holding me up. My body's completely limp. And unfortunately, this is a little embarrassing, but I'm going to say, because I want to be as authentic as possible, I shit myself in the process of this. So
Yeah, your
I'm
body
feeling
completely
weird emotions.
disconnected.
My body just completely, I don't even know if I pissed myself, but I shit myself a little bit. It wasn't too bad. And
Nonetheless.
then eventually, I slowly regained consciousness, and they sit me on the floor, and they're like, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I never experienced that, but it was very scary. And so I waited 5 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, I kind of regained consciousness. And I told the guys, like, all right, let's get out of here. I tried to play it off. I'm like, man, that was some good weed. Like, trying to be funny. I stand up, I take 2 more steps, and then I collapse again, face first. And don't remember what happened after that. And I guess I regained conscience a couple minutes later. I can't tell you. And then my buddy's like, all right, man, you got to sit. Like, we're going to sit here for like an hour until we can really make sure you're good. I think one of them ran to go get a Powerade. So I'm sitting there drinking Powerade, sitting in my shit, just not knowing what's going on. And eventually, we go back to the dorm, and that was that. So I didn't have any anxiety in that moment when I passed out. But what I realized that in my life, thankfully, I haven't had any traumatic experiences or nothing severe happened to me in a negative way, which is great. I'm very happy for that. But that was a very traumatic experience for me. And so after that day, I slowly started to develop a fear of passing out again and experiencing that sensation. And so that fear would just slowly built up to where sometimes if I ever smoked weed again, I would start to have the fear and I would start to get this crippling anxiety. And these were all emotions I never felt before, and I didn't know what it was. And I started to fear, oh my God, if I smoke again, am I going to pass out again? I don't want to experience that. Am I going to die? Am I going to have a heart attack? I didn't know. And that fear started to spread to other things in my life. It turned out where initially it was just if I smoked weed, I thought, okay, I'm going to pass out. That fear, through some way or another, I can't tell you how it happened. Sometimes I'd be in the car. If I'm sitting in traffic and I'm looking around and there's a ton of cars around me and I feel like I'm trapped in a sense, or I would just think about the passing out, it would start to invoke feelings of anxiety, which eventually led to a panic attack and the symptoms of a panic attack. And for me, everyone's symptoms with panic attack are very different, but there are some common ones. But what it feels like for me when I experience a panic attack, my heart starts racing much quicker. It'll go from a 50 resting heart rate to 110 to 120. And you notice it, you feel it. I start to get lightheaded. I start to feel that, the drip of sweat on your forehead. My body, my hands start getting sweaty. I feel completely numb. And then the worst part to me is the breathing. My breathing completely shuts down. And we take breathing for granted because we do it and we don't think about it. It becomes incredibly difficult to breathe. And you almost have to force yourself to breathe. And it turns into like fast breathing. It's impossible for you to just breathe normally when you're having a panic attack. At least it was for me. And so I would start to experience these symptoms, and I didn't know it was a panic attack, but I knew it wasn't good. And so if I experienced a panic attack in certain places, I would start to assimilate those places with panic attacks. So driving, traffic. If I'd go to the gym, what I didn't realize is when I'd go to the gym, going to the gym and exercise, kind of what you were saying in your question, can invoke similar symptoms of a panic attack in the sense of you're doing cardio, you're lifting weights. What does it do? It's affecting your breathing. You have to breathe a little more difficult. Your heart rate starts to rise. So I couldn't go to public gyms for probably 4 years because every time I would work out and then being in public, the working out would induce the symptoms of a panic attack, which would lead to a panic attack. And then in my mind, I was so worried that, am I going to pass out in public? What are these people going to think of me if I literally pass out on the bench or I can't make it back to the car? And these were these irrational thoughts that I would start to have. Mind you, I've never passed out one time since then, and that was 15 years ago. But in my mind, when you're going through it, all you can think about is all the bad, all the negative. How are people going to judge me? What, am I going to make it back to the car? I can't breathe. Am I going to have a heart attack? There's a lot of these different things that you experience. So from when I was 18 up until maybe when I was about 30 or 31, I would have panic attacks at the gym, in restaurants, anywhere I felt trapped, where I just couldn't go. It was a snowball effect. If I had one little inconvenience somewhere, now all of a sudden, like you said, I would assimilate a panic attack with that environment or wherever I was.
Right. Yeah. No, that's insane. It's intense. It's crazy because it's very similar in my experiences too. Like, I've never liked driving. After being in a car accident, I had a fear of being in a car accident before I was ever in one. And then after being in a car accident, it's me going on 95. I just assume not go anywhere. Like, I just don't want to put myself in this situation because, like, I tense up, like, my chest. It's almost like when I'm experiencing an anxiety attack, it's like I'm intentionally holding my breath.
Right.
If I'm nervous about anything, if I'm uncomfortable, I will catch myself holding my breath. My brother does the same thing. I had no idea we were the same until we had a conversation about that. But no, it's very uncomfortable, like the tightening of your chest, even caffeine. We talked about that a couple minutes ago. Will was giving me shit yesterday, or it was the day before yesterday, and I was making my coffee in the morning, and I put half decaf beans and half espresso beans to make my espresso in the morning because the caffeine gives me anxiety. True. And I will not calm down until after 1 o'clock, and I have my coffee at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he's like, "You're a grandmother." I'm like, "I've graduated, okay? I'm 91 and I'm proud of it." But it's true. It's such an uncomfortable feeling. It's not normal. But it's interesting to me that and I know what you're talking about when you say this, you correlate it to other things. And then once it's like, what is that? Venom in Spider-Man. It's like it latches onto other shit and it sticks to it, and then it like totally encapsulates it, and your mind relates those things. So driving, working out, making your coffee in the morning, anything, you start anticipating it, and it's almost like maybe that never happened, and maybe that the black spider web didn't actually totally take over that thing, but we tell it that it does. And so we anticipate it, which makes it worse, and it makes it happen more often. And I think that's one of the big misconceptions, which I've talked to you about too. I'll just use Will as an example because he's the one that I have to use. Not to throw you under the bus, babe, sorry. But when I would have panic attacks, he would be like, "It's all in your fucking head. It's not real. It's not real. It's all in your head." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's in my head. That's the fucking problem.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. That's what I'm fighting."
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing a person can tell you that's going to make you unthink it.
Right.
Especially after you've experienced it. One thing I'm curious about with your traumatic experience since starting, I don't know if you've had any experiences with other substances that have brought you anxiety also.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I just think the passing out was something I never experienced and was so traumatic for me.
I've never passed out either, so I wouldn't even know what that's like.
It could be, but I never experienced it with anything over weed. Never did coke or anything else like that. And honestly, the anxiety is probably why. When I was young and in college, if that never happened, I may have experimented with other shit. But the reason I didn't is because I'm like, well, I already get anxiety if I smoke weed. So if I do coke or something else, I'm going to have a heart attack and die. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
No, yeah, probably.
I got anxiety because that's what led me to never want to do anything else or experiment with anything when I was young and stupid.
Yeah.
So it could have, but I don't know. But I think it was more so just the traumatic experience of the passing out, shitting myself, which I've never done since then, by the way, for everyone that's watching. And have a laugh on me, that's fine, I'll admit it. But who knows? Because when you do smoke weed, and you get high, it does change I'd imagine your your sensations in some form, but I'm not educated enough to really give you an opinion on that.
Yeah, me
possible.
either. When I smoked weed in high school, I never liked it because it gave me panic. It made me uncomfortable, but I always thought, I could be wrong still, but in high school I thought that I was panicked because I was worried about getting caught smoking, not
Right.
because weed was actually giving me anxiety
lot of
or making
people
me panic.
have that,
Yeah, because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get caught. My parents are going to know I'm high. Give me the eye drops. You know what I mean? So I just never enjoyed smoking because it never brought me any peace.
Right.
Like I just never got that. But or maybe it really does. Maybe some people respond to it differently. Maybe me and you are those people.
I think so. And same thing with
Because-
caffeine. Even all those years, I gave up caffeine for 3 years, and I would just do decaf because it was
Yeah.
all mental. If I did caffeine, did the caffeine really cause my heart rate to go to 120 or feel these things? No, it was all mental. My mind said, I'm drinking caffeine, which therefore raises my heart rate, which therefore may induce a panic attack. And then the fear of a panic attack just happening from drinking a coffee or too much coffee, or even sometimes today when I go to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, I'll only drink half because I'm worried about, I don't know how much caffeine's in there. If I drink too much, my mind's going to start playing games on me, and then all of a sudden I'm going to induce a panic attack because I had too much caffeine. So I gave up caffeine for 3 years, and it sucked because decaf sucks. Decaf is
Yeah.
not the same. I was miserable.
No, I know.
And I loved having coffee first thing in the morning. So eventually I had to gradually just work my way into doing a little bit of espresso or a little bit of caffeine. And after a while, I was able to do that. But to this day, if I do drink caffeine, and actually, fun fact, I didn't drink caffeine today. I have coffee usually every morning, depending on my day, where I'm at. Do I have court? Do I have important things? And I will purposely avoid coffee, which is probably the wrong response. But I didn't have coffee today on purpose because I'm talking about anxiety, going in front of a camera. If I drink coffee, it's going to engage those senses a little more. So I purposely avoided coffee. But it just goes to show the same thing where you're talking about avoidance with anxiety is that it leads to you starting to avoid certain things in your life. And one thing turns into something else, And before you know it, you're going to be, I forget the word, it's like agoraphobic something, but it's basically the term of when someone is scared to leave their house.
Holy
Where
shit.
I
Yeah.
can't get in the car, I can't go somewhere in public, I can't drink coffee, I can't drink alcohol, I can't party. It just turns into something where you cannot live your life and enjoy your life in fear of experiencing the panic attack and the symptoms. And that's the worst thing that you can do is avoid these things out of fear that a panic attack or anxiety is going to happen. I didn't learn that until many years later, until I got to
Yeah.
that point where I'm like, damn, I'm avoiding everything. This is ruining my life. I'm not happy. This is a problem.
Right. But yes, giving it power. You don't realize by avoiding what you're afraid of is actually giving it more power. And that's
1000%.
when it starts to consume you. So you're a big shot attorney. You got to go in the courtroom.
Your
You
words, not mine.
My words, not his. Yes, he is. He is. So you're under pressure all the time. And you have to present in front of judges. You have clients. I mean, it's not an easy task being an attorney as is and dealing with the pressures of that. So what is your experience like dealing with your anxiety or, trying to control your panic attacks when you're working or in the courtroom?
Horrific.
Yeah.
Great question. And I'm glad that you asked this because if you ask most attorneys, I think they're going to give you a bullshit answer, a pompous answer. Oh, yeah, I don't really get nervous. I go in there, I do my thing. I was born to be an attorney. I was born to litigate. And they give you a bunch of bullshit. One of the first attorneys that was my mentor was an older guy in his 70s. Brilliant, knew everything off the top of his head. Super humble, great guy. I learned most of the stuff that I learned from him. I asked him, I remember one day I said, Larry, do you ever get nervous, for court, and especially when the case is contested and the other attorney's an asshole or, it's a big case and pressure? And he says, yeah. He goes, those feelings will never go away. He's like, over time, you learn to control them a little more and moderate them. But he's like, to this day, I always still get nervous. So when I heard him say that, that was very reassuring to me to know that he's been doing this for 50 plus years, probably one of the smartest attorneys I ever met, and he still gets nervous for little hearings. And so from the human side, that was encouraging to me because to answer your question, absolutely. I've been doing this I've been an attorney for 6 years, been in legal field since 2014, but I'm in court at least 3 times a week. And sometimes it's in person, not as often anymore. Most of the time it's through Zoom. And some cases are harder than others where you have to argue something for 30 minutes. Another case, I may argue something for 2 minutes. The other side says something for 2 minutes, and it's like a quick hearing. I can't tell you the last time that I didn't get nervous, before a court hearing or didn't have severe anxiety. And there's been moments where I've had major panic attacks during a hearing and to the point where I'm like, here we go. I'm literally about to pass out in court. I can barely stand up. And this is before COVID, but there was moments I had to go into a room, the scariest moment of my life. It was this board that had to do an appeal in front of, there was like 50 people in a small room, a little bigger than this, all like a scene in Harry Potter. I don't know if you remember in Prisoner of Azkaban or something.
Yeah, it's the
They got
best. I love that one.
You got the dude in the cage in the middle, and you got all the people around him in a big circle, very
Yes.
crowded. So yeah, it was
great
it was
scene.
it was Goblet of Fire. It's like one of the guys that was like a Death Eater or something. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
he's front and center, and then you have all these people around him, just all eyes on you, staring at you. And I remember I went in there before the hearing. I was fine, and I went in there. I'm like, holy shit! I looked around. I see all 50 people there. My clients there. It was a really big case. They were trying to demolish his house. By the grace of God, I didn't pass out, but I was this close. Whatever, I don't remember what the hell I said. It was good enough because we won. But when I was talking, my heart rate was probably like 180, lightheaded. Again, all the symptoms that I said. My breathing was probably visibly impaired, not to the point where it was super noticeable from other people that didn't know me. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely, my breathing and how I'm speaking is definitely different than how it was. But almost every court hearing that I have to this day, even after I've made a lot of progress with anxiety, I have a ton of anxiety, ton of nerves. And usually in my experience, and I journal with this all the time and have to remind myself, is that the lead up to the hearing, waiting for your case to get called, you make your announcement, the first 20 seconds or whatever it is, to me is always bad. All you have the adrenaline, you're looking forward to it. And I'd say after the first 20 seconds, and you kind of just say your piece and you kind of get into a rhythm, eventually it slows down. Eventually it starts to disappear. Not always, but 90% of the time with my hearings, after the first 20 seconds and, I kind of get in and I get over the little hump, it starts to slow down and then I'm kind of back to normal. I'm still a little on edge, but I'm back to normal where I can have a normal conversation. I'm not having the heart attack symptoms. I'm not feeling like I'm about to pass out. My breathing doesn't feel like I had someone stab me in my lung. And eventually it settles down. But every single hearing I have, whether it's a big one or a little one, there's always feelings of some type of anxiety or stress leading up to it. And I don't think that's ever going to change, frankly. And it's unfortunate because I wish I could avoid that,
Yeah.
right? And there's been many days where I'm like, being an attorney is great. There's great prestige that comes with it. A lot of people respect me. They rely on me. I can make a good difference in people's lives. Financially, I'm doing great. I've never made this much money before in my life. All the hustle has come there. It was finally paid off, to where I'm at now. But there's days where I generally thought, I'm like, I wouldn't mind just going to work at Publix and being a bag boy and making $12 an hour. And I'd probably be a lot happier doing that and less stress-free, less anxiety, less panic attacks. And the only reason I really still am an attorney is just because of the financial part. I just can't ignore the return on it because it's so lucrative. And if I were to do something else in a different career, I would take such a pay cut with it that it wouldn't be worth it for me to do. So the only reason I do it is just because of the money. But the trade-off is, like you said, the pressure, the constant deadlines, the demands, the anxiety, there's so much shit that comes with it. Especially when I work with people like Will. Every 2 seconds, hey, I need a response.
Oh my God,
I've been
he's next level.
gone from work for 2 hours. I got 12 notifications of people blowing me up on a Friday. So it's
And probably
constant.
10 of them are from Will, and he's one door away.
Right,
No, I'm just kidding.
But the return, but again, I can't make all this money and not have something in return. There's always a push and a pull. But the reason that I still am an attorney, and I probably will just continue to be an attorney, is just because of the lucrative side. But it sucks because the downside to that is it's constantly inducing severe panic attacks, severe anxiety, severe stress. And even when I'm not in court, I got 100 emails in one day. Clients were upset. They're very unruly, dealing with other attorneys. Like anyone's job, they're always going to have problems and issues. But on the law side, it is very difficult. So it stinks because with the anxiety, it's there. It's on my shoulder every day. It's present. Just sometimes it's a little higher and sometimes it's a little lower.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that today? I know that you started a run club in Cooper City, which is super cool.
Yes.
And as we spoke about earlier, exercise actually helps in some cases.
Big time.
So cardio for me specifically helps me run my mind. Even though I'm physically running my body or my legs or whatever, that is not why I sit on a spin bike for 45 minutes at the end of every workout. It is because I'm running my mind, and I'm not cool without those 45 minutes in a day. You can ask Will. So is that something that you use to combat it? Is that why you got into running? Is that why you
Yes.
started the run club?
Yeah, I'd never liked running, and then even when
No
I
one
had-
likes running.
I still don't like running. And anyone that tells you they like it, they're lying.
No, they're a liar.
They like the feeling that you get when you're finished with your run.
Yes,
But no one
exactly.
actually really enjoys
They're like ready
running.
for that protein shake at the
No one
end of the
enjoys
run.
running a marathon or an ultra marathon. Don't listen to Will. It
No.
sucks. I did it. It felt great after, but during it, I was like, oh my, why am I doing this?
Yes.
But fitness helped me a lot with, I'm not going to say overcoming anxiety because it's always going to be a constant battle.
Just helps you
It helped me
tolerate
deal
it.
with it a lot better with fitness. And I avoided fitness a long time and kind of let myself go when I got really fat because I was scared to go to the gym. I was scared to work out because it induced these symptoms of anxiety and panic attacks. I even spent a shit ton of money to build a home gym inside of my house because I was scared to go out to a public gym, kind of like what you were talking about in your episode the other day with the gym anxiety, similar to that. And so I thought the home gym, I'm like, okay, I can still work out. If I pass out, it's in the convenience of my own home. Like no one's there to see me pass out or whatever it was. I don't have to feel like I'm trapped. I'm in my safe zone. And I realized that even when I had my home gym, I was still experiencing panic attacks and the same symptoms. So
Wow.
that taught me that it doesn't matter where you're at. You're just going to experience it. And ultimately, it's up to here. Eventually, I was able to just keep doing it and keep doing it. I'm like, okay, if you have a panic attack, don't leave. Don't quit. Just sit there and just try to stay in the fire, go into the storm. And so now when I still work out, I can work out much more. I started running, and it was kind of what's called exposure therapy. So exposure therapy is essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not a doctor, I'm just paraphrasing for what it is that you essentially, I don't want to say torture yourself, but you intentionally go into difficult environments that normally trigger your anxiety. So for example, if running would cause me anxiety because of the breathing and the heart rate, what do I have to do? I have to run more. Working out, what do? Work out more. If I have to go to a restaurant, sit at a restaurant and don't get up and go to the bathroom for an hour. Sit there and stay. Whatever situation is, go into Publix, walk up and down every single aisle instead of just running to get something in and then leaving in 5 minutes because you're scared about having a panic attack and you feel like you have to run out and leave. Go up and down every single aisle until you're done and then do it again. And if you feel anxiety, don't run and quit. Don't avoid it. Sit there and stay in the fire, stay in the storm, if you will. And so that helped me a lot was the exposure therapy and just not avoiding stuff. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I got to put on my shoes. And I kind of looked at it like in the sense of like I'm a warrior, right? Like I see the battle. I see the tornado. I see the hurricane coming. Most people run away. Like, but you have to run into the storm. And eventually that will help. And it's going to suck. It's not going to be easy facing your fears and these challenges. But if you avoid it, like you said, it's going to make it 100 times worse, and it's going to continuously spread to other things in your life to where you cannot enjoy your life. So my exposure therapy was doing all the things that I hated and I feared, and that helped a lot. And then obviously the endorphins that you get from working out, lifting weights, running are an incredible feeling that I've noticed that the more I run and the more I work out and the more I eat better, it translates over to the mental side, and you just feel way better. So fitness has been really, really instrumental in helping me. And by no means am I David Goggins. I don't have a six-pack. I barely count my calories. So don't look at me saying you have to be a bodybuilder or anything like that. Everyone's fitness level is subjective. So if that means you walk around the block for 20 minutes, that's fine. If you do 20 push-ups a day, it's different for everybody. But you've got to do something, and you got to move your body.
Yeah, change your state. That's
Right.
one of the best things that you can do. I think Tony Robbins talks about that a lot, actually. And also, by avoiding them, it just makes them bigger. It's very similar to how I started this show. I was talking about having a podcast for 3 years before I started the show. And by not starting the show sooner, it just made it bigger and bigger and bigger and scarier and scarier and scarier. And the second you actually start something and you combat that fear and you face it, you can't climb over the mountain always. Sometimes you have to get a shovel and you have to dig a tunnel through the fucking mountain.
Right.
Like that's the way to get through it, is to face it. So it's like the same thing with your career, with being an attorney. For me, having a podcast, just starting it and facing it and getting going makes it so much smaller. You're like, this is not that big of a fucking deal.
And you're telling yourself, hey, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. I might be a little scared. But,
you
but I'm
do.
not-
You are
but you're
scared,
not
but
winning
you're
this battle.
but you're like, fuck you.
I'm winning the battle today.
Yeah.
You might be there talking shit in the back seat, and I'm gonna hear you, and it's not gonna be fun. But I'm winning the battle. You're not winning the battle today. I'm gonna go and do this shit.
Absolutely.
And that's so empowering.
It really is. Just like for you to walk into a courtroom, for me to come sit down with a guest, or even by myself. When I do solo episodes, I sit in here and talk to a camera by myself like a fucking weirdo. Like, it's uncomfortable. I'm like,
Right.
hopefully someone's getting value out of this. I don't even know if anyone's listening right now, but it's just me. So it's, you know, until you put yourself in that situation, you won't know. You won't be able to overcome it. Just going through it is what helps you. It's what changes you. Even before we even started, before we sat down and you were talking to Will, I was in here going through my notes. I prepare for every single show. That makes a huge difference in not being nervous when sometimes I sit down with people I don't even know.
Right.
Can you imagine? It's
That would
like,
suck.
okay, well, hopefully this goes well, you know? So one, being prepared is super helpful
Big time.
with your anxiety and stepping into a situation knowing, okay, I've like got this under control. I know it's going.
I'll never forget it.
No, yeah, go ahead and tell the story because
So-
I have to come back to my thought anyway.
I don't remember what happened the night before, but this is when Will was drinking, and I partook in a lot of that. We
Oh
were
yeah,
partying
so
all the
did I.
time.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, and I don't even know why I was going to Will's house. It was on the weekend. Maybe I left my shoes there. I don't know what the hell happened, but it was a hazy night. So I walk into Will's apartment, and he didn't say anything, so I just assume it's him and his dogs. I walk in, and we're just we're talking shit in the kitchen, and we're probably looking at like dollar bills from the strip club the night before. I don't know. And all
Sounds
of a
about
sudden,
right.
you walk out in like little short shorts and like a little light. I don't know what's called, a little top or something.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh hey, I'm Savannah. I'm like, I look at Will. I'm like, the fuck, like. You could have told me you had a girl over. I'm over here like blabbing about all kinds of stuff, and you just walk out of my bed or at his bedroom. But then I looked at him and I knew because Will has he generally in the past likes girls that are blonde with lighter eyes.
He has a type
He
for
has a
sure.
type. And I remember I looked at you and I looked at him. And he had a little his little slick smile. I'm like, you son of a gun. And anyways, I remember you were very nice and very very chill. And I didn't ask any questions. I'm like, all right, I have a feeling I know what happened last night and why you weren't responding to my texts. But now that I see why, you're good.
Yeah.
I approve. But that's how we first met. And then obviously, you guys hit it off again from there. And
Yes.
now you got a fat ring on your finger and we're going to Italy soon.
I do. We're going to Italy soon. Oh my
excited.
God. Fast forward so many years. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, and it's funny. He does have a type. I guess there was some person that they had a business meeting with, and one of the girls on the call was like a smoke show. And even his assistant and like one of his salespeople were like, dude, that chick was so hot. Like, I can't believe that this is what she does. Like, and Will was totally unimpressed. He was like, what? No, she wasn't. And they were like, she looked like Megan Fox, apparently. Like, that was the comparison. And he was like, she was a brunette. It's like not even a conversation. And they were like giving him shit about it. Like, just because someone doesn't have blonde hair doesn't make them unattractive. And apparently for Will, it does.
He knows what he wants and he's not settling for it.
He's
It's
not.
that.
He's like, brown hair, not interested.
Nope.
Hot blonde, he's like, excuse me, hi, can I get you a drink?
You're right. And I'm not going to add any more to that subject and incriminate him. So I'm just going to say you're correct.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
He's a criminal.
That's how we met. But
That's
little
how
did
we
we know
met.
that we probably shared this in common.
Yeah, no, we had no idea that we shared this.
I think a good transition to this is how I discovered that you had gone through similar issues in your
Mm-hmm.
life was and this is important, is that with this anxiety, I've never really gone public and told many people about it. The only people I ever told were my therapist, my psychologist, and I was even hesitant to even tell my family for a long time.
Yeah.
I just suffered in silence and just never told them. And I think when they would see certain things, they kind of knew something was wrong, but they never asked. I think out of respect to my privacy. But I was scared and petrified to share it with anybody. And that's part of what made it worse is I had never talked about it with anyone. I was too scared. Man, I can't be a man talking about all these problems I have and telling them the story, how I shit myself because I smoked just too much weed and I passed out. Like, it's not something that I'm just excited to share with a lot of people. And I'm comfortable with it now because I'm a little older and whatnot. But Will was one of the first people that I kind of opened up with and kind of told him. I didn't tell him the full extent, but I told him, I was like, hey, man, like, I'm really struggling with these panic attacks and whatnot because it happened in front of him. We went to the gym at Lifetime Fitness, had a panic attack, and this was just on a Saturday or Sunday. No reason to be stressed. It just happened because of my whole, my gym phobia, if you will. Mm-hmm. Then we went and got something to eat after. And again, the whole restaurant phobia, feeling like I'm trapped, happened again there. And he was cool. He didn't say nothing. He's like, dude, what's going on? And I didn't even fully open up to him because it was just really hard to say that. But eventually, we kept talking down the line, and we were having a lot of deep phone calls about it, and I kind of told him what was going on. And I think on one of those phone calls, I told him, I was like, hey, man, I've really given up. I've given up hope in that I'm ever going to be able to find a solution for this. And I went and saw a psychiatrist who wasn't that helpful, didn't really listen to what I said, and said, wrote me a script for Prozac and something else. I don't remember what it was, but it was basically like antidepressant meds. And it took a lot for me to even schedule an appointment with a psychiatrist, because at that point I gave up. I was seeing a therapist. I was still having anxiety, still having these issues. I'm like, okay, the therapy's good. I'm learning about a lot about it, but it's not fixing my issues. Went to see a psychiatrist. She wrote the script, and I remember I grabbed the script. I drove to CVS. I sat in the parking lot for like 20 minutes. And mind you, I went on YouTube, I went on Google, I went on Reddit. I read every damn thing you could read about the pros and the cons of all these things. And some people were like, oh, it's great, it changed my life. And then you get the flip side where it destroyed my libido, I have no emotion, I'm numb. Coming off it has been the most physically worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. Don't do it. And I'm generally a very holistic guy by nature. I don't even like taking Dayquil or NyQuil if I'm sick. And so for me, I was like, if I take this step and start taking meds, like there's no turning back. Like I'm going to commit to it. But I was so scared about what it could do with my mental and my physical, how it's going to change me. I'm going to feel like I'm not really being myself. Like I'm an inauthentic version of myself. Like I'm a robot.
Yep.
So I sat there in the parking lot like a scene out of a movie. You know, I'm just looking at it for 20 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not ready to do this. And I made that promise to myself that even if it sucks and I got to suffer through all these panic attacks and these symptoms, I'm going to do whatever I can naturally to try to combat this, and I'm not going to resort to the meds. Prior to that, I had been on a phone call with Will, and you were in the car, and I was on speaker. And I was kind of telling Will about it, you know, my struggle. I'm like, man, like, what do I do? Just asking him for an opinion. And he's like, oh, Savannah's in the car. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. You know, she could listen. And I remember you saying something along the lines, and I'll let you tell your story, but you essentially said that you had dealt with something similar in the past. You had tried the meds, and essentially really was a bad experience for you. And you encouraged me to, hey, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Like, really take it from me. It wasn't a good experience. Like, do whatever you can to not get on there. So you were a big factor in that. And this was probably maybe 3 years ago. I
didn't even know that.
3 years ago. And we never really talked about it since.
Yeah.
And so you were a big factor in me deciding not to fill that script and take those meds and to try to combat this thing, you know, naturally. So, and then the reason that we're here today is Savannah posted a great episode the other day talking about gym anxiety. And I've been like following the show a little bit, and I saw that. I'm like, wow, she's talking about really good stuff that you just don't see on a lot of other generic podcasts where everything's repetitive, people talking over each other or just trying to promote something. And I lose interest with that. When I saw your gym anxiety post, I'm like, oh shit, sounds familiar. I'm the king of that. I'm in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So I was like, let me watch the video and let me see what it's about. And I started listening. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And that's what prompted me to reach out to you to say, hey, like, I know you were kind of touching on this. I remember when we had a discussion, you know, a couple of years ago about it. If you're down for it, I think this would be something really cool that we could talk about that would really be impactful for a lot of people that listen and might be going through the same thing, but are just, I don't want to say scared to admit it because that's not the right phrase, but you know, maybe they don't realize how many other people are going through it that are out there.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the everyday Joe or the big shot attorney like me, you know, like some people say, no one's invincible. You know, a lot of people have these things that we deal with, especially men. And so that's what prompted me to contact you. And thankfully, you know, you were like, that'd be a great idea. But I'll turn the floor to you to share, you know, your experience with the meds and, you know, what you went through.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm going to thanks for shouting me out on my own show. Like, I didn't know that I was such a big impact, but that's great. Thank you. I mean, I'm not a doctor and I can't prescribe or tell anybody what to do, and I wouldn't, but because Gio asked, I was like, I would avoid it at all costs if you can. If you can't, you know, do the minimal dose. But in my experience, I was diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder and PTSD when I was 15. And I avoided medication until I was 17. And my panic attacks got so bad that I was like, give me anything. I don't care what you do to me. Just make whatever's going on with me stop, because I can't take it anymore. Okay. And so my doctors had me on Lexapro twice a day, first thing in the morning and every night, as well as Klonopin first thing in the morning and every night. I had a bonus Klonopin, so I would get prescribed 90 Klonopin a month.
So what's that for the average person has no clue what these things are?
It's an antidepressant, and it basically, the best way I can describe it is an umbrella. Whatever you feel, it just runs off you like an umbrella. You're an umbrella. It hits you like water and it just rolls off your back. You're not affected by anything. And it does. It fucking works. It's great. But you become that. You become somebody who you're not yourself anymore. And anybody who's known me since I was this big to feral with Savannah, Montana, I'm intense. I'm like, I'm go, go, go all the time. I got a lot to say. I got a lot of energy. I have big personality.
Yes, you do.
I was not this version of myself the entire time I was on medication. And I had that awakening at 20, but so I was on medication, 5 pills a day, 4 pills. If I had a panic attack, I had a bonus pill that I could take that would stop my panic attack within 5 to 15 minutes of taking it. So, yeah, I was an umbrella. I didn't have emotions. I was just super laid back. It was great. I was super calm all the time. Didn't really have much to say. Just not myself at all. Like, Gio's looking at me like, that's not Savannah. What are you, what? Yeah, that was me on lots of pills every day. So then I realized, I want to say I was about 20 or 21, that I wasn't myself anymore and I didn't want to be on medication. And it was just something that came to me. Like it was out of the blue. I was out of a job. I had totaled my car in a fender bender, not like a big car accident. And so I didn't have a car anymore, so I couldn't get to work anymore. And for like 3 months, I was just not doing shit with my life. And I was on this medication. And my thought was to go to the military because I was so depressed and I was like, I just didn't like myself anymore. I didn't like my life. I was like, I'll just go to the military and I'll just tear myself down and rebuild myself back up there. You know, like that's what they do. I'll be whatever version of me that they want me to be. And I didn't do that. I moved back to Montana, thank God. But through that experience, I decided to flush all my medication down the toilet and I quit cold turkey. And that's when suicide set in. That's when it's not, I don't know, contemplating suicide. I never believed that I would ever kill myself, but I thought about it a lot. Like not in, oh, I'm actually going to act upon this. I knew that I was worth more than killing myself, but I knew exactly how I would do it. So I was like that. I don't know if that's contemplating suicide, but you know, planning like, okay, if I was gonna do it, this is how I would do it. Well, like, you know, that's close enough to me, good. You know? So, but I knew I never would. I was like, there's like, this rock bottom is not so bad that I would ever have to take my own life. But those were constant thoughts after I had gotten off of medication. And then it was after I had left and moved back to South Florida, I had seen the same doctor and it was just for a normal checkup. And he asked me about, oh, do you need a refill on this and whatever? And I was like, no, I don't take any of that anymore. And he was like, well, when did you stop taking the medication? And I said, about a year ago. Well, how did you stop taking it? And I said, I just stopped taking it. I flushed it down the toilet and I just never called for another script. And he was blown away because he's like, well, first of all, you're not supposed to just stop taking antidepressants, especially how many and what kind of antidepressants you are. Like at the level that you're taking, you're supposed to wean yourself off them slowly. And it's because of suicide. It's because of what happens to your body when you withdraw from something like that. I'm like, yeah, I get it. He was shocked that I was in his office. He was like, well, good for you for doing that. But if you're ever on antidepressants, don't ever do that again. I was like, well, no problem, because I'm never taking that shit ever again. So for 5 years, yeah, I was like totally not myself. And what affected me after being off medication was libido. It affected every single relationship I had after that because my body was just numb to everything. So my personality came back within about 6 months. I would say 4 months of suicidal thoughts. By 6 months, I was good. Like I didn't really think about stuff like that anymore. Right. But for years later, it affected my body chemistry, sex with my relationships, like all of that. I don't know that my system ever regulated even till today. Like obviously I have a better hold of it and I know my body well enough now, but it definitely changed things for long term. And some things I'm like, I don't even know if they'll ever change because it's something you have to be conscious of because it's almost like you eliminate certain emotions or certain chemicals in your body because you numbed them for so long. It's like you turned off a light switch and you're like, I lost the light switch. How do I turn it back on?
It's like starting up the car.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
wild. So I don't promote being on antidepressants based on my own experiences because there are so many other ways, but also you become a better version of yourself. Like you and I were talking in the pre-show that because of having anxiety, it strengthens other emotional parts of you. You have more compassion, you have more understanding, you have a deeper empathy for other people and other things and for yourself from experiencing such a high level of anxiety or panic attacks or depression or whatever that is for you. And if you can just learn how to cope with it and accept the fact that it might never go away fully, but you know how to live with it and you know how to communicate with it, that's way better than ever taking a pill.
Oh yeah,
For
100%.
sure. Yeah.
The thing with the pill that always would scare me is that it's adjusting the chemicals in your brain. Mm-hmm. I just don't think anything good can come from adjusting chemicals in your brain, especially if you can take a pill that stops an anxiety attack in 5 minutes. What is it doing to the rest of your body and your mind to just control and stop all this other adrenaline and cortisol and everything else? Like everything has to be an inverse, you know, like it's up, down, cold, hot, left, right. There always has to be a push and a pull for something. So when you have something like that, when it's changing your emotions and feelings, there has to be a negative to it if it's providing some type of positive. That's what really scared me. That's probably what happened to you is there was so much chemical imbalance and then completely coming off it, your brain and your mind just kind of, you know, went haywire.
No, and you don't even know that you're addicted to something. I don't have an addictive personality at all. Like it's just not, I wasn't wired that way. And I realized that my body was getting attached and addicted to antidepressants because I started to notice at 6 o'clock every night is when I would have panic attacks. I was like, why? It's at 6 o'clock. And then, just like that thing, I would latch on to 6 p.m. I was like, oh my God, it's
here it
almost
comes.
6
Yep.
o'clock. It's going to happen. And it would every single time. One, I'm telling myself I'm going to have a panic attack. But two, that was the same time I was supposed to take my medication every night. So it's like, well, the thing that I need, that I want, isn't here. So my body knew that. That was wild to me. That was a huge eye opener. So then I was like, but I was aware of it. Okay, I'm having panic attacks at 6 on the dot because that's what time I'm supposed to take my medication. But now that I know it's coming, now it's just having a conversation with myself that it's like, it's literally like, fuck you. Like you give the middle finger to your anxiety and
embrace
you're
the
like,
storm. Yeah.
whatever, I'm going to do something else then. I'm going to go to a movie. I'm going to like light a candle and hang out at home. I'm going to do whatever, but I know what's coming for me. And it's just having a conversation with it that it's like, no, you're not going to do this to me because I'm telling you that you're not allowed to, which is easier said than done. But the more that you practice that, the more it implements and you're just rewiring like your neurology around it because you're telling your body how to respond. And I know some people think that's crazy and it's woo woo and it's science, but it's true. It
That's
actually
a perfect topic
works.
that I wanted to speak with you about. Is
Yeah.
if someone that's watching that says, "Hey, maybe I do have panic attacks or severe anxiety," are there anything that you guys can suggest? You know, referring to us of strategies or things that we've done when we're experiencing a panic attack that helps reduce or mitigate the panic attack? And something that I think you touched on essentially is saying that you have to be okay with it and you have to just kind of embrace it, but also you have to change and do different things. For me, like when I have these panic attacks, and this is through years of reading and therapy and psychologists and seeing what works and doesn't work, and I still don't have a perfect answer because what I say sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I kind of have like a little checklist of like things I do go to when it's happening. And one thing for me is that I just have to realize that I remind myself that I've never passed out one time since the incident happened when I was 18 years old. Every single time I've had a panic attack in my life, and this generally probably applies to most people, you didn't have a heart attack, you didn't die, nothing excruciating to you really happened. It's just severe feelings in your mind that are causing you to feel a terrible way. And that if me breathing a little harder or my heart rate's going faster, it's all mental. There's nothing physical. I didn't just go and sprint down, or I didn't sprint up a set of stairs to physically cause my breath or my heart rate to spike. It's all just mental. And there's with anxiety, and this is in one of your true and false, anxiety really doesn't cause you, the physical symptoms that you feel have nothing to do with your body at all. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We could be sitting right here where we're doing nothing. We're not breathing hard. We're not running. We're not working out. we're not under undue stress or anything crazy. You know, something catastrophic didn't happen. We didn't just get in a car accident.
No.
But you might just have a panic attack out of the blue. So I remind myself, yes, my heart rate may be high. I'm having a hard time breathing, but I'm literally just sitting here. I'm doing nothing. On every other moment, there's no reason for my heart rate to be beating this fast. It's simply because of the mental, or I'm feeding the anxiety attack, and I'm kind of feeding into those irrational thoughts. And I'm, oh my God, what happens if I can't get out of here? Where am I going to go? And you start kind of going into this this black hole. That's what makes it worse. So as hard as it is, you know, what works with me is I remind myself, I've probably had, I don't know how many panic attacks. Let's say 100,000. I don't know,
Yeah.
some crazy number. But I'm undefeated in terms of not dying, not having a heart attack, not passing out. I have to remind myself of these basic things because that's what it feels like. You literally feel like the worst is going to happen. And I always tell myself that every panic attack always ends. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 10 minutes. Sometimes it's on for 5 minutes, off for 2 minutes, and then it does come back, or a little bit of it. But when you understand the science behind the panic attack, essentially what it is a buildup of excess adrenaline and cortisol. And we as humans have adrenaline and cortisol in our DNA as defenders. Because back in the day when we were cavemen and shit, if someone comes to attack you, or you get really caught off guard, or someone, you know, surprises you in your house, you know that feeling that you feel, oh shit, and like, you know, for that split second, your adrenaline kicks in. Your body is meant to have adrenaline just for defense purposes. You know, so we're meant to have that. You cannot eliminate your adrenaline and your cortisol from your body. That's just a natural chemical that has to be there to alert you to certain things.
Correct.
That's how you have to live your life. And so I remind myself that all it is are those feelings or those emotions, but it's just an excess buildup of these chemicals. But eventually they have to come down because your body cannot be in that emotional state with all of that adrenaline for 24 hours straight. Your body can't do it for an hour straight. Your body probably can't even do it for 30 minutes.
No,
Realistically.
yeah. Like they get said, the statistic 5 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, 5 to 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is a stretch. Like you got to be
Yeah.
going through some shit. Like you just got into a really bad car accident, or like, you know, your freaking airplane fell out of the sky. It has to be something catastrophic for your body to really be shook for that long.
Yeah.
Barring something that doesn't happen like that, and you're just having a panic attack, usually it's probably just 5 minutes. And I tell myself, eventually, scientifically, these chemicals cannot sustain this feeling for so long. So as bad as this feels, maybe, I don't know when it's going to end, if it's going to be 30 seconds or 3 minutes, it will stop.
Yeah.
And it's going to stop, you know why? Because every other time that I've ever had this, it stopped.
Yes.
And every other human being that's walked this earth that's experienced the same feeling, it's stopped with them. An anxiety attack has never killed anybody.
Yes.
It has caused people to pass out on a rare occasion, but that never led to someone dying or having a heart attack.
Right.
So it can induce these very uncomfortable physical sensations, but it will not kill you.
No.
It may feel like it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's the scary
Yeah,
part.
it does. Sucks.
But it doesn't. So that's what I constantly reassure myself when I go through it. And also, you can't give in to it. So
No.
sometimes when I would really be experiencing anxiety, even if I work from home, I would go and lay in my bed and just think, okay, I'm laying on my bed, I'm resting. That made it worse because I was giving the anxiety more control. Whereas there's been other days where I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. Like something stressful is happening, but you know what I do? I just keep working. Or I just go, I go and let the dog out. I pretty much do exactly what I would be doing if I wasn't experiencing the anxiety attack. And if you do that, and it's going to be hard because there's times when just to get up from my desk in my own house when I'm by myself, to walk to the kitchen, to open the back door to let the dog out, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells and I'm literally about to pass out. And this is over just something casual.
Yeah.
But it feels like death, like I'm walking the freaking plank, you know, on a pirate ship, but I still do it. And eventually, if you just keep going about with whatever you were doing or doing something else, it will help reduce the anxiety as opposed to just sitting there and just trying to like get rid of it or push it away. You kind of have to embrace the feelings and just let them be instead of trying to avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just before we even sat down for the show, this is what I was going to tell you earlier. While I was reviewing my notes, I started breathing because I'm like, even just sitting in the seat, like I get nervous too.
You got these bright ass lights in our face, like, you know, and you're thinking people are going to be watching us and listening to this. It's little things in life that can be very nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But one thing turns into another, and it's a snowball. And before you know it, you're having a full blown panic attack over something stupid or just slightest inconvenience, and it sucks because
Yeah.
we're humans. We
Yeah.
can't control. Hey, you know what? I only want a panic attack when I'm in court. All right, just court, nothing else. It's just not how life works.
No. Well, and so like my strategy is breathing. I focus on my breathing and taking deep breaths. One, breathing through your nose and breathing in a box. So I know that sounds really weird, but I'll explain it to you guys. So close your eyes and think of a box. When you breathe in, you're going to hold for 4 seconds, and then you're going to breathe out and go down to make the box. Then you're going to, when you're going across to draw the bottom of the box, you're going to hold your breath, and then so you're breathing in and out, and you're just making a box. So close your eyes. Gio's going to do it with me,
Yep,
so
I'm
we can
doing
all
it.
do it. We can all do it on the episode. So breathe in through your nose, and you're going to hold that breath for 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you're going to breathe out for 4 seconds. And you're going to hold that breath for 4 more seconds. And you can keep doing that over and over until you calm yourself down. But it's called breathing in a box, and it's just a 4 count. You breathe in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, breathe in. That's all you do.
One of
And
the worst things to do in a
it just
panic
calms
attack
you
is
down.
when you lose track of your breathing.
You do,
when
because
when you lose control of
You
it,
start breathing really fast.
it
I
makes you
start holding my breath.
hyperventilate. It gets worse. Holding your breath, whatever it is, that will cause your heart rate to rise. Your heart rate rises. It causes your body to get sweaty. You get lightheaded.
And you react.
You have to focus on your breathing, whether it's the technique that you said, and there's different techniques for everybody, it's subjective, but something that
course.
you have to bring yourself back and say, okay, focus on my breathing. Yes, my breathing may be a little stuttered right now, but I have to focus on that.
Yeah. Well, and understanding that anxiety, I talked about this in a recent episode, actually. Anxiety and intuition a lot of times feel the same. They're different in the sense that your anxiety screams at you and your intuition whispers at you. And if you can have a conversation, sometimes it might feel like anxiety, but it might just be your intuition telling you to pay attention to something. When you're so used to having anxiety or panic attacks or experiencing that feeling, you jump to anxiety because you're familiar with it and you feel like you don't have control. But your intuition a lot of times can feel similar. Just one is whispering to you and one is screaming at you. Also, when you're living in anxiety or when you're having a moment like that, it's usually because you're trying to live in the present. And when you're living in the present, you're trying to figure out what's going on in the future, or you're controlling something that you have no power over. So if you can realize that in the moment of having anxiety, you're fearing the unknown, which means it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
It's over here. We haven't gotten there yet because we're right here. So you have to tell yourself, okay, come back to reality. I can only be present and I can only control what's happening in this moment right now. So what can I do right now in order to stop thinking about that thing in the future that I have no control over? So bring yourself back to the present state and stop thinking or overanalyzing something that you actually have no control over.
Perfectly
Does that
said.
make sense?
Yeah, because you're doing double damage.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself, even when I have court, there'll be days where I'll have a trial next week, and I'm worried every single day. I'm going through all the scenarios, and I tell myself, why am I doing this when I'm going to have to experience that on the day of trial?
Yeah.
Right? So why am I doing double the damage to myself? Because I'm going to have to, when I go to trial or whatever stressful event that someone has, you're going to have to deal with it when it happens. You got to go break up with your boyfriend. You got to go do something. It's going to suck when it happens. So what's the point of working yourself up before and basically doing double or triple damage on yourself when you have to deal with it?
Yeah.
So I tell myself, just stop. Enjoy today, because if you don't enjoy today, what is it? If you're always worried about the future, you never get to enjoy today. Something along the enjoy the present. And so I'm like, focus on today. And when Monday comes, I'll deal with the suck on Monday. But until then, I don't have any suck right now. It's a Friday. I'm going to the rodeo tonight. Like, I'm gonna see my you have to stay focused. And one last thing that helps me a lot too.
Yes.
If I have something that's very stressful or going to cause anxiety that's coming up, I plan a reward for myself. So, example. Let's say I had court today at 12 o'clock and I'm stressing about it. I'm like, shit, all I can think about are all the bad things that can happen, the negative possibilities. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I'm going to have a panic attack. It's going to happen at 12 o'clock. What I do before is I say, okay, well, I'm going to deal with that from 12 to 1 or whatever it is. But at 6 o'clock, I'm going to the rodeo. Or 6 o'clock, I'm going to go to my favorite Italian restaurant. I'm going to get my favorite meal. I'm going to do this. Or 6 o'clock, I'm going to rent this movie on Amazon Prime, or I'm going to go to the movie theater to see this movie that I really want to see badly. And having something to look forward to beyond that stressful event can help you a lot, because in the moment, maybe you're getting your ass cussed out, or something bad's happening on this stressful event.
Yeah.
You're gonna say, well, fuck, well, I mean, get to see my movie at 6 o'clock tonight. So, at least I got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That helps me a lot.
That's a
And
great cheat
I'll
code.
strategically, or you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to buy myself this outfit or the suit I wanted or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not saying to spend your money responsibly, but you have to give yourself something positive to look forward to at or around, after the stressful event. And it will help combat the negative. Because when you go into that day, instead of just all you're consumed about is just the bad, you say, well, yeah, it's going to suck in the afternoon, but I get to go hang out with Will Friday night. We're going to go to Chops. I'm going to get this, New York strip. And you got to have something to balance it out. And so that's been really helpful for me. When I have stressful things, you better believe I'm doing something like right after.
Yeah.
Not like, 2 seconds after, but I have something planned, to do after. And that's helped me a lot, kind of balance the growing anticipation or anxiety of something that's very stressful that's coming up.
Yeah. It's funny because do something similar. It's a really, really good tip. It's such a good cheat code. So for anybody suffering, definitely use that one.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Get that Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. No,
get
that's
the
what I was
extra
going to
sauce,
say.
whatever.
I'm like, when I wait a minute, I can't even talk. When I'm going into something that's stressful and it's over, because even during, sometimes you have anxiety while it's happening, like sitting in court.
Yep.
When it's done, I'm like, okay, well, I know that on my way home, I'm going to pass Chick-fil-A. I'll just use that example. Or Wendy's. So
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm
something.
going to stop at Wendy's and I'm going to get myself a Frosty on the way home.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, now it's over and it's done. So I can just
Let's celebrate a little bit.
relax. Usually my go-to is like going home, grabbing my laptop to prepare for work, to do more episodes, behind the scenes editing, whatever the hell I have on my plate for that day. It's going home, lighting the candles, throwing something random on TV and working from the couch. Like that's my safe. It's like,
Right.
that's my happy place. It's
And
just because
everyone has a different happy
everyone
place.
has a different happy
You
place.
have to find that happy place and identify
And give it to
what
yourself.
makes you happy. Right?
Yeah. And also whenever you want. Everybody, I know like the tough guys and the tough girls, oh, you can only do this or limit yourself or you're giving yourself too much grace or you're being too soft. It's like, no, you're not. You can give yourself your happy moments as much as you fucking want to because you only have one life.
Yep.
So take it all in. Like you don't have to limit yourself. You're not less of a person. You're not less strong. You're not too much for doing that. Identify what those things are and treat yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
As we get older, we are all guilty. When I say older, I'm talking 30s, 40s. 20s, you're just young and stupid and invincible.
Yeah,
You're
we
not
don't know shit.
You're not thinking about
Which
the
is
future.
okay.
Once you kind of get into your 30s, you're like, okay, I got to start thinking about marriage, kids, retirement. What's my what career-wise? What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I going to buy a house? Like, you start thinking about all this adult shit. And I think in my 30s, and I was super guilty of this, even my late 20s, I forgot to live. I was not living. All I did was, okay, I'm going to work. Who do I got to go see? Everything was a checklist. I was just doing what I needed to do with life. I was never doing anything for me in the sense of I wasn't saying, you know what, I really want to see this band perform in California. Like 2 weeks ago, to give an example, like I literally flew to San Diego to see my favorite band perform. And I made a little trip out of it,
Cool.
whatever, but I did that for me.
Yes.
My favorite band. I've seen them a bunch. I've met them. But to me, it's like a euphoric experience that will make me happier than anything else I'm doing. And I worked really hard. I got all my work done. But that was me living and, going with my family and having a good time with them. I never did that a lot when I was younger because I was so worried about work and my career and trying to make money and establish myself. And I got to save up money and pay off my law school debt. I'm in law school. My entire life was just stress. And all I looked at is just all the shit I got to do. And I just looked at it from a very negative perspective. Like, okay, what do I got to do? And maybe I'd watch a show or whatever and had temporary happiness, go out with friends, whatever.
Yeah.
I was never living for myself. Like,
No.
damn, like, let me do something for myself. Let me go and get this tattoo that I really want to get. Let me go back to Montana and see my family and ride horses with my fiance in the middle of nowhere and enjoy this experience that you can't get anywhere else. Or, let me take the day off and go and get a pedicure and a manicure and a massage. I'm just throwing just random shit out there because
Yeah.
it's different for everybody, but something that can help with the anxiety is finding your happy space or whatever that is and taking the time for yourself. And it's okay to just take a day off if you have to, just for a mental health day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to be lazy and don't do your work, but you have to prioritize yourself and your happiness too. And even if you're with a spouse, you still have to spend time with your spouse and your family and your kids. But we all need a little time for ourselves to do whatever it is that we need to do that makes us happy. And so I'm not saying go and blow all your money and fly to California and see all these concerts, but it's important in life because we deal with so much stress and negativity, and that's 75% I think people's lives
Yeah.
is just dealing with stress and problems, and we're very rarely doing something for ourselves, planning to go to the rodeo, planning to do something fun, to go to Wendy's and get that little
Yeah.
that little
Sweet
shake, chocolate
treat.
shake, or the
Yeah.
little sundae to treat yourself. It's the little things like that that go far in life and help you with your happiness and help combat the stress and the anxiety and the panic attacks. And you won't think so in the moment that a little shake from Wendy's can help, but that thing could make a big difference.
It
in
really
your
does.
happiness.
And that's the funniest thing. It's like, okay, you're going to go spend $2 on a Frosty at the drive-thru, which took you 5 minutes to get. And if anybody shits on me for that, you can eat a dick, because that it really is something that's that small that can make such a big difference. Also, to your point, not even just adding something in and giving back to yourself, but also if you're suffering from anxiety or if you have triggers that give you panic attacks, figure out what those are and take it from me. I figured that out with alcohol. Sometimes you have to remove things from your life. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're using something as a crutch to get through it and numb it. And I wasn't numbing anything with alcohol.
I did.
Oh, I know.
Too much.
So did Will.
All the time.
He'll tell you all about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing for men, which we're going to get into before we wrap this up. But my relationship with alcohol was fine. I've never had any issues with it. I like to party. I mean, I was wild. I'm loads of fun after a couple shots of tequila. But I removed alcohol from my life because it was triggering panic attacks. I would get so worried about my hangover before a night of drinking, before I had any alcohol in my system, because I knew I was going to have a panic attack the next day while I was hungover. And then I would eat like shit. I wouldn't go to the gym. I'd be on the couch for the next 2 days.
Destroys you.
And
the actual anxiety.
and then throw in the actual panic attack, throw in the anxiety attack. So I was like, this is something that's bringing me hell, literally. And if this is who I really am on alcohol, when I'm drinking alcohol, then I should be able to be this same person when I go out with a bottle of water in my hand. So that was my challenge to myself. And I removed alcohol from my life. And that it was true. I'm like, I'm still loads of fun. I'll party with you till 2:00 in the morning and
It's
dance
just a
on
bad
tables.
habit and just what
Yeah.
society says that you need to do. And once you unwind
Well, it's a
that
big
habit,
money grab too. I mean,
Yeah, of
shit.
course.
Like
Yeah,
most
20%,
restaurants thrive on their
20%
alcohol
for one
sales.
drink, that's $18 plus 20% tip and tax. You're almost at the $30 for one watered down drink.
Yeah. So, but I knew that if so, basically what I'm trying to say, if there's anything in your life that is triggering your panic attacks or is triggering anxiety, and you can identify what it is, sometimes not even just adding the good stuff, the small stuff, the life hacks to it. Sometimes the life hack is removing something from your life and just try it on. Like a dress, like you walk in and you try your clothes on, and you're like, does it fit? Does it not fit? Just try it. You'd be shocked at how much it can change your life. And it's not like you don't ever have to drink again, but if that's something like, just using mine as an example, removing something from my life is what made a huge difference for me. And it built so much confidence within myself, and it opened up so much more mindset for me by just doing that one small thing. So sometimes you got to take something away. And if you can figure out what those things are, could be anything, not just alcohol, but try to take it out of your life and see how your body and your mind responds to it, because it can be extremely helpful.
Big time.
Yeah.
And the power of saying no, and it's not just to things, but to people, or even hanging out. And it could be friends, it could be family.
Yes.
And it took me a long time because I was always a yes man. If I had someone invite me to something, I would just go because I didn't know how to say no.
Yeah, you're like, I don't even want to go.
And deep down, I didn't want to go. I'd be praying, Jesus, please let someone cancel this.
Sometimes
thing.
it gives you more
sick.
anxiety, just like getting ready to go somewhere and having anxiety because you just don't want to go that
No.
bad, but you go anyway because you're
Now,
doing it for them, not for you.
You have to be careful with that and not use that to an extreme. So when I say no, don't say no to every little thing, every social environment, because you do have to get out there. You do need to participate. Sometimes there's events or people you have to see and you just have to go to show face that are important to go to. But you also have to have that boundary where you can say, no, hey, you know what? I really need today to myself. It's Sunday. I need to relax. I got some shit to do. I got to clean the house. I don't want to go and meet up for lunch or whatever, but let's do it in 2 weeks. You know, I'm still down to meet up, but I just need today for myself. I need some time for myself. And it's hard to do that with friends and family, especially, and say, look, I know you guys want to have family dinner, but I just don't want to go. It has nothing to do with you or the food that's being made. I love to go next week or the following week, but I just need today and now just to myself, because maybe I want to go to Wendy's and get my Frosty.
Yeah.
Or I want to go watch a YouTube video and relive the concert I went to.
Promoting Wendy's hard here.
Yeah, whatever it is. Or I want to just go on Amazon and find some shit to buy. I want to wash my car. I just need that time for myself.
You're not less of a person or less of a
Absolutely
family
not.
member for spending quality time alone. It's necessary. You don't have to feel guilty. And I know that family especially can make you feel guilty.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going home for the holidays. It's like a topic of conversation. You don't even have to explain it, actually. You don't
You
owe
get to a certain point
anybody.
in life and age, you just have to respect the people's decisions. And as long as your family understands that, hey, I'm not doing this intentionally or not to see you guys.
But you are
I
holding
just-
a boundary,
Right,
which you
but
have the right to do.
establish those boundaries, because if you don't, that contributed a lot to my anxiety. Was constantly going or doing stuff for other people or meeting up with people because I just couldn't say no, and I just really needed time for myself to have that chocolate frosty, or to buy those concert tickets, or to go to the concert, or to go for a nice long run. But instead, I'm at brunch, just miserable being there, spending money or whatever it was. So, being able for me to kind of be more assertive, and as men we have to do this too, is to say no in a respectful way, but also balance. You don't want to
Yeah.
say no to everything because you're avoiding stuff because of your anxiety.
Right.
So I don't want that to be confused. You still have to participate in life in social environments, but you do have to find that balance for those frosty days. when you need a
Yes,
frosty.
exactly. You kind of touched on this just now, but for the men out there, because you're a man, why? I know what I think, but I want to hear it from you. Why do you think that it's so important that men start having these conversations and opening up about the reality behind experiencing panic attacks and anxiety as a man?
As a man, if you don't open up about your anxiety, your stress, your issues, you will suffer. You will suffer mentally. You will suffer physically. Your relationship with your significant other will suffer. Your relationship with your children will suffer. Your relationship with your family will suffer. Your relationship at work, everything suffers. It's a disaster. And the reason I say this is from experience. I'm telling you exactly what happened to me. I can't tell you how much me not speaking up and sharing my problems and my issues was terrible. I literally, the only time I actually told my family about it was when I was in the emergency room, and I got rushed there in an ambulance because I thought I was having a heart attack. I didn't know what was happening. The doctors there ran blood tests, EKG tests, everything else you could possibly think of. They did at the ER because they didn't know what was wrong with me when I was telling them my symptoms. After a couple hours went by, they said, look, we've asked you every question in the book. We looked at your blood work. We looked at your EKG. Everything is good. I even went after the ER to see a pathologist, I think is what it's called. It's a breathing specialist, because I thought there was something wrong with my breathing because of my breathing when I had the panic attacks. After weeks and weeks of doing tests there, and I did an overnight study and all this shit, everything came back the same. You're fine. We don't know what it is. And that's ultimately when I realized, I'm like, damn, okay. I think I kind of knew this all along, that I was okay, and that it's the anxiety and the panic attacks. But during all that time, when I denied seeking help from other people, and it doesn't have to be from a therapist or psychologist, it could be your friends and family.
But you hid it for what, 12 to 15 years, something
least,
like that?
at least.
That you didn't tell anybody.
Nobody.
Until you finally went to a
It
psychiatrist.
ate me up every single day. I had to go clean with it after I went to the ER. And I remember I was sitting there laying in like the little bed. My mom and sister were there. And I kind of accepted it in that moment when the doctor said there's nothing wrong with you. I'm like, fuck. Okay. I think I know what it is, guys. Like, I was hoping the doctor would tell me it was something else. I had a heart problem or some shit.
But he confirmed it. He was like,
They-
this is
when that did
anxiety.
it, I had a moment of like, that was like the climax in my movie where I'm like, fuck, okay. I had to accept it. I'm
Cat's
like,
out of the bag.
I know what
Here
it
we
is.
go.
And my mom was sitting there all worried and shit. And I didn't say it fully clear, but I kind of told her, I was like, look, I'm pretty sure it's, severe anxiety and panic attacks. When I said this, I was kind of like crying a little bit because like it was a moment of clarity where I'm like, I felt like a drug addict or something, where you're hiding this
Yeah.
problem.
You finally admitted it to yourself out
Right.
loud. You've
And
had that conversation internally, but
I
you never said
it
the
out loud.
sentence.
In my mind, I said
Such
it.
a big deal.
So I'm sitting there like laying in the little hospital bed in the little gown. Thankfully, I didn't shit myself this time. And I look at my mom with kind of like tears in my eyes. And as I said it, it made me cry because this was me after 12 or 13 years finally accepting to myself that I have this severe mental disorder. Call it what it is. That's what it is. And saying it out loud was petrifying, terrible. And then saying it to my family, because I knew my mom would feel some type of sympathy for me, and I knew it would cause her pain because now she may realize, or she may think, is this something that I caused to my kid?
Right.
Is it hereditary? Is it the way I raised him? Is there something I did that caused him to feel like this and to suffer and to feel these things? So I think in my mind, I never wanted to tell her because I didn't want her to feel any guilt. I'm like, look, this is my issue. Didn't come from you. Don't feel bad. It is what it is. So when I said that in the hospital bed, I sat there crying, not, too much tears, but it was really hard. It's something you just can't forget. And I told her that. But after I told her that, I felt like I was liberated. Like I was like, oh my God. After eventually I got back home, like it felt so good to just, number one, say it out loud to myself, but tell my family. So they finally understand what I'm going through, where they probably had an idea. And then the worst part was I thought it was going to be weird and awkward. It wasn't. They barely even asked me. They don't even ask me questions about it. If there was moments after that where they saw me having a panic attack or whatever, they were there to support, didn't judge, don't bother me. And it was the same thing with my friends. When I would tell Will or even tell like maybe one or two other close friends, like a little bit of what I was going through, not once was I ever judged or talked down or did anything bad happen. It was the complete opposite, where I had complete support for them saying, damn, man, I'm sorry you're going through that. And sometimes I'd even have people say, yeah, I kind of have similar issues. Like I had panic attacks. I had this, and that. And so as a man, if you do not accept it, and I'm not telling you what to do, everything's different, but if you have a feeling that you're suffering severely with whether it's panic attacks, stress, any other mental issues, PTSD, whatever it is, obviously you need to speak to a professional that can help you diagnose that and see what it is, and you can work on yourself. But you have to come clean and tell your family and your friends. There's nothing wrong with that. And the biggest stigma that society says today is men don't cry. Mm-hmm. Men don't show weakness. You cannot say shit like this because it's going to make you less of a man. It's feminine to say that you have these issues or there's something wrong with you. It's the fucking complete opposite of that. Mm-hmm. To me, I view myself more as a man now than I ever have in my entire life because I got the balls to come up here on a podcast and tell people about my experience and what I've been suffering through, and that I shit myself when I passed out and this and that, and my vision was pink, and that when I go to court, I'm nervous every fucking time, scared of having these issues. I drink coffee, I'm getting a panic attack. It wasn't easy to come to that, but from someone like me, being able to say that out loud, like I'm fully at peace with who I am. Mm-hmm. And when you finally open up to your friends and your family and you tell these people these things, your life's going to become so much better. Not because I want empathy or pity from anyone else. I don't give a shit. You're just going to feel more free. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what we talked about is like, hey, I know I'll probably have anxiety for the rest of my life. Is what it is. But I'm in such a better place because when a panic attack comes, I can at least tell someone, hey, man, sorry, dude, I'm going through it. I'm just, give me 5 minutes, give me 10 minutes. I'm good. Let me walk out. I'll be back. I'm good. I'm just having one of those moments versus not being able to say that and suffering in silence. So as men, you have to take that step up. Don't listen to what society says. Don't worry about what other people are going to give a fuck about. And people will respect you for saying that and sharing that with them. And ultimately, nothing bad can come from that. Your friends, your family, your kids, your coworkers, they will be there to support you if they truly love you. And literally, it's only going to help your life and your situation with anxiety or depression, whatever the fuck it is, it's only going to help. And just being able to admit it to yourself and telling other people about it for the right reasons, only good can come from that, and it will ultimately help you, deal with that. So that's the best thing I can say, and I can end this with, and that you're going to realize that there's so many other people going through the exact same shit, and you may never know. It could be the guy that sits next to you every day at work. It could be someone that you go to at the gym. It could be Savannah at the gym, who you see is like ripped and in great shape. I would have never guessed that you had gym anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
Never.
No?
Never. I think, you're freaking ripping pull-ups, you're jacked, you got a six-pack. I would have never thought that. But how naive, right? That's what society says. So when I saw you post on your YouTube, I'm like, wow, how crazy is that? Like Savannah, of all people, is a freaking muscle machine.
Thank you.
What former bodybuilder, she has freaking gym anxiety. So when you say these things out loud, you just have to accept that it's not you, man. This is not a Geo problem. It's not a Savannah problem. This is what you say. 20% of almost every single person in America has something. So just being able to talk about your mental health and you want to be a man, talk about your weakness, talk about your issues. That's what's being a man. You're less of a man if you don't share these things with the people that you love and your support system and trying to deal with it yourself. That's being less of a man.
Absolutely. And it's not hot coming from me, guys. Girls, everybody, it's not sexy. Just talk about the shit. The truth will set you free. You're not less of a man because you talk about your emotions or because you feel something. And if you're with a girl or if you're with a guy who makes you feel like a crazy person for talking about it or letting it out and being human, fuck that person, don't
Yep.
date them
Easiest
anymore.
decision ever.
Easiest
Fuck out.
decision ever made.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah,
Next. We're
you
out.
suck. So we're not hanging out with those people anymore.
No chance.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think that I feel bad for men in the sense, I don't want to say feel bad because no one wants to be felt bad for, but I think it is shitty that you guys get a bad rep if you let something out. You know, like I think when you see a parent cry, when you see a dad cry, when you see a man break down over something or really get emotional, it means something to that person. And if people can't see the humanity in that, shame on them. They're just not our people. You know, I think guys should talk about it more. I don't think that there should be a stigma around it. Obviously, you don't have to gush all this stuff out in front of
Right.
females,
Right.
but you guys can go to dinner or go to lunch or hang out on a Saturday at the house with football on and bring up these topics. It's not that big of a deal, but hiding it makes it a bigger deal. And that's sweeping it under the rug. And eventually there's this huge pile of shit under the rug that everyone's staring at, but nobody's talking about it. So thank you for talking about it.
My pleasure.
Yes. Thank you
Great.
for being on the show.
Literally
And
more satisfying. Me just having this conversation, being able to say it is great. Like it makes
Yeah.
me happy saying it again. I don't care for the attention. I'm not making money off this. I don't want money.
I wouldn't
don't want
care if
attention.
you were.
but I'm not selling anyone on any shit. Like, hey, after everything I said, by the way, I sell the secret pill. If you take it, you'll be just like me. I'm not
No.
doing that shit. So for me, I get great satisfaction. Again, kind of just admitting that, yes, I have this and talking it out loud helps me internally immensely. But if if there's at least one person watching this that can relate to one thing that you and I said, we can make a positive change in their life, mission accomplished. You know,
Exactly.
that's what we're here for. So not enough people talk about this, especially men in today's society are
Especially
scared
men.
to talk about things that they deal with mentally. Oh, my business is slow. I'm having issues with my business, or fuck that. We don't care. Everybody does.
Yes.
You know, talk about the real shit. You know, that we're really dealing with. This is important.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be a good father, a good husband, you know, a good coworker, a good owner of business, you have to deal with your mental first. And
Yep.
if you don't, everything else follows.
And don't be afraid to lead that conversation either. Be like a Geo. Bring it up. You don't know who is dying to have that conversation.
Right.
Some of your friends probably feel the exact same way or are suffering through something very similar to you. Or it could be something completely different. But if one of you doesn't start that conversation, you're never going to know. So if you have to be the one that has the bigger emotional balls, then be that guy, be that friend, be the brother, be the uncle, be the dad that can do that, because you don't know how important it is. But keeping it a secret isn't going to help anybody. That's why we spill the tea here. We
The
just
worst thing I did.
give away all the
ate
secret
away at me
sauce.
like a parasite, like the venom parasite that you talked about.
Yeah.
Every single day. And my life, I'm never going to say my life was terrible. And like you said, I was never suicidal. But during those 10 years, I was just living life on autopilot. I had no genuine happiness. If there was happiness, it was temporary. Okay, I went out to eat with my friends. I went on a boat for 2 hours. In the moment, I'm happy. I was not happy. I had no purpose in myself, no drive. Even if I was a lawyer making good money, whoop-de-doo. Like, that's materialistic shit that's in and out in 2 seconds. I had no happiness because I had pretty much given up on myself and the anxiety. I said, I'm going to constantly deal with this thing. It's terrible. This is prior to me, getting therapy and learning about it. I said, I just accepted that this is something I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life. I'm going to have a shitty life. I'm never going to be able to be happy again. Every time I go to a restaurant, I'm going to have to leave. Every time I go to Publix, I'm going to have to race out. I'm never going to be able to go to the gym for more than 20 minutes because I'm too scared about passing out or in fear of what others think of me, or if they notice me having a panic attack or having symptoms. Where's the nearest exit? Where am I going to go? I accepted all of that. And this is when I was at my lowest. And I was like, how the fuck can one person be happy in life when I have to deal with this every day? And I didn't share it with anybody. So no one else knew. And it was a very lonely time where it's just me and me. Myself, and I. It's just me and the anxiety. That's it. And had I not talked about it and sought help and told other people about it, I'd be at that same point in my life, and my life would be completely different. And the level of happiness of where I'm at now, and by no stretch of the imagination am I saying my life is perfect like anybody, but where I'm at now is the best that I've ever been in my life in terms of mental clarity, my happiness, the way I look at life, relationships. Where I told Will in our podcast with him, like, God forbid, hopefully it doesn't happen. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I would tell anyone in my will, don't be sad. Like, I got over this anxiety hump. I lived my life. I had the Frosties from Wendy's. I went to California. I saw my favorite band. Like, I made it over this hump, with the anxiety. And every day since then, since really accepting this and coming clean, my life has been fantastic. I look at all of the great things. I relish in it. I'm so lucky. I have great friends, great family, good career. Like, there's literally nothing more better that could happen in my life. Of course, yeah, sure, I get married and kids, but I'm at the point now where, like, nothing better can happen in my life. Like, I'm good. I hit the top. I'm finally at the apex, and now I'm riding off into the sunset. Whereas before, when I didn't come clean with the anxiety and I hit it and I was too scared to talk about it like a man, I was at the lowest of the lowest. And I'm so glad that I made that change and had the balls to share and tell other people and to seek help and to learn about it and take those proactive steps. Because had I not done that, I don't know where I'd be now. My life, my happiness now, no chance.
No.
I'd probably be in the same miserable, depressed place of just flying on autopilot with no purpose or happiness in my life. So that's not going to apply to everybody, but when you do what we discussed today or something similar to it, I guarantee you'll see the results in your life. You'll see the extra happiness that comes in. Your relationships will improve, and life as a whole will be so much better. You still have anxiety, you still have your issues, there's good days and bad days, but your life will improve so much better if you do those things that we talked about today.
Yeah, because you're owning it. You're not avoiding it. You're not letting it defeat you. You're communicating with it, and you're just going to keep moving forward.
You got to take control.
Yep.
It's just like Tom Hanks, or the villain in the Tom Hanks movie, Captain Phillips. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
You got to be that Somalian pirate that got on the ship. He got
So
on the
true.
anxiety ship and said, hey, look at me. You were the captain of the ship going who knows where, but I pulled up on my little boat. I'm taking this. This boat's
Yeah.
mine. I'm the captain now.
Yes.
So that's what I said to my anxiety. I said,
You
hey,
do
man,
such a good
I've
impression
been riding
of
on
that.
this bitch for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this shit. I'm taking control. I'm the captain now.
Yes.
And we're going where the fuck I want to go.
Exactly.
And we're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's
I
what I
love it.
did, and that's what everyone else needs to do.
Yes. Be the captain. Be the captain of the anxiety ship, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly gentlemen, but ladies too. Well, thank you so much for
course.
being on the show. It was so fun talking about this, even though it's kind of a hard topic to talk about. We made it super light, I think. I think we did a good job on
big
setting
time.
the tone here. Neither
time.
one of us cried, so I'm really proud of us.
I was expecting that. And we did have a little cheat code to do something just
We
in case.
did. We had a cheat
if it got
code.
too emotional.
And
So
if we
thankfully
got
we
to-
didn't do that.
yeah.
But no, and I appreciate you for opening up and sharing your emotions, because this is not just about me. This is about you and everyone else that has experienced similar feelings. It's not easy to open up and talk about that. You're thinking about, possibly, if I ever did contemplate suicide, what would I do? And it's not easy to say that. So you deserve a lot of credit for being able to being able to say that confidently and open up and say that about yourself and come clean. I won't say come clean, but vice versa, sharing things that are very difficult to share that you generally wouldn't. So I know you give yourself credit, but you need to really give yourself extra credit for being able to say that, and then your journey and your progress of where you come in your life with Will and everything else. So
Thank
and I've
you.
seen it from the outside a little
Yeah.
bit, but you've definitely come a long way as well, and I'm super proud of where you've come in your life and everything with Will. So
Thank
You're
you.
killing it.
Thanks, Gio. So
Yeah.
are you. Look at us. We're just two anxiety-ridden human
That's
beings
it. That's
that we
it.
didn't even know we've been friends for such a long time. And I think that's a thing. You don't even realize the people that are around you, and you don't, because we don't talk about it. We don't communicate these things.
we were on the anxiety ship the whole time.
Yeah,
Just,
we
I
were
was on
like,
the first
oh my
floor, you're on
God,
the
I could
second
have
floor.
called Gio like 700 times by now.
Yep.
Shit. Well, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for talking about it. I'm sure all of the men listening to this episode are so glad that you brought it up, because it's definitely a normal thing, and we just need to normalize talking about it. But shout out to the men. Start talking about it. That's what we want you to do.
Be a
You're
man.
not the only one.
Be a man.
Be
Actually
a
be a
man.
man.
Yes.
And handle your shit.
Yes. Well, where can our followers and our listeners find you after the show? What is your social media?
I think my Instagram handle is GBLaw34.
GB Lot
Yeah.
34.
If
I'll
you just-
tag it in the
yeah, tag
in
it
the
in
in
the-
the show notes below, so you
Yeah.
guys can find him. You guys know where to find me, but I'll say it for you again. You can follow me at Savannah_Montana on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow the show at Feral the Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. If you guys have any personal stories, crazy stories, impactful words, stuff that you would like to be brought up on the show, make sure to email it to me at feral@savannahmontana.com. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Give Gio a shout out. Tag us when you're listening. Take a screenshot. Leave a review. All the things. Like, follow, subscribe. I don't think I have anything else to say. But until next time, I will see you guys with another guest next Tuesday. And don't forget to stay feral. Bye. Let me tell you who the fuck I think I am. You got a minute? Wow.